So the lieutenant governor position is a sinecure. It's a sinecure. It's worthless. It's pointless. There's no real, duty. There's no real power. It's just sitting at a bunch of meetings. You're in committees. You have influence. But real power, you have very little formal power compared to Texas, compared to the presidency, compared to being a governor or a state rep. You don't have any power. No executive power, no legislative power, no judicial power. None at all. Number 2 is basically number last, right? Number 4.3 million. It's a sinecure. A sinecure is it's a wasted, I don't want to say it's a wasted position because it might do something with checks and balances, having 2 people in the executive that's, got each other's back, having a husband-wife team. There is something to that, having the JFK and RFK brothers. One's attorney general, one's the president. There is something to that because there's a bond and there's a trust there. But it's a sinecure, and so it makes me think that since it's a sinecure, that means there's only the prestige and the money that comes with it. And many times the people take the lieutenant governor position to be like a shadow for future things to come, which I could use that for that. Maybe I'll write a book or something after I'm finished. But, I'm so focused on this campaign, I'm not really thinking of anything else. What's Clay County's biggest problem? It's poverty. That's the biggest problem. This was a 2012 poll that was, taken in Clay County. What's Clay County's biggest problem? There's almost 200 votes. And that's actually more than that one poll that said that 1 out of 3 men would rape if they could get away with it. So that's there's only 72 participants in that, and so they went with 199. 199 is the amount of people that have voted for this poll, and the top 5 things, because there's 10 issues. The top 5 things that they either call Clay Countyans or people who get on Clay County's websites. The top 5 issues was poverty, the police, poor education, violence and abuse, and poor mental health. So poverty, economics, class war, Republican class war. That's everything that Jeff Young is talking about. Jeff Young's policies are superior to Jack Conway's. That's why he doesn't want to debate. He doesn't want to actually put them side by side. He don't want to see if Jack Conway's policies of Kentucky or if Jeff Young's policies of Kentucky will be better. He doesn't want to put them side by side. He doesn't want to have an honest and fair competition, and that's unfortunate because there is a lot of poverty, and the fact that we tolerate poverty for as long as we've tolerated poverty since the beginning, right? Since 1774. Before it was the rugged Daniel Boone types, and that's when Kentucky was awesome, and it was self-reliant, and also there was the cooperation and camaraderie. But then you had Henry Clay, the aristocrat, slave owner, the lawyer, politician. And isn't that weird that, for some of these politicians, you have to be a lawyer to be them? I mean, in Franklin, the lost state of Franklin, which was going to be eastern part of Tennessee, the Constitution was going to kick out all the doctors and all the lawyers. No elites can be part of our government. Only farmers and minimum wage employees. That's it. Only labor, unions, working class peoples. No managers, no owners, no corporate headquarter cabinet people, COOs or whatever. Just regular average folks. And I think that sounds better. Kicking out the lawyers. What? It's like, hey, you're a lawyer, so you're a liar. Why don't you be a politician and tell us the truth? No, I mean lie and just BS and just smile and say something. Make it all feel better. Make it all go away. Make the pain go away. So poverty, the police. I was actually pretty surprised about that. The police got 39 votes. 19% of the people who voted in this poll says that 19% of the problem in Clay County, which is a small sample of one county, there's 120 counties, so I think you can actually take this as a statistically significant poll. And so then education, 27 votes, violence and abuse, 14, poor mental health, 12. And then the coal barons, racism, obesity, poor health care, and binge drinking weren't that big of issues. So, poverty, lots of poor people everywhere. Police, that's a huge issue. The police, what's going on in Clay County's police? They're corrupt, lots of abuse, the war on drugs, they're draconian, they're fascist, totalitarian, Nazis. Are they Nazi? Are they killing people like they're doing in Boone County? Poor education, 100% compliance. If you had better education, you would have a better society. If you had better education, you wouldn't have poverty. You wouldn't have police corruption. You would have an educated citizenry of active and informed people, taking part in their democracy, doing direct actions, doing nonviolent campaigns, doing demonstrations, calling their representatives, demanding something, anything. They're your politicians. They're supposed to work for you. We vote. We give our consent to be governed. While we vote, we can get what we want. That's the only time politicians care about what we want, during the times we go vote. So all 7 candidates that's running for governor, they all love all you guys. Every single one of you all in Kentucky are their darlings, and they're going to smile and say, we're your friend. They might not talk about policy. They might not tell you anything. They'll smile, though. And they'll give you, candy, and they'll give you cards, and they'll give you a handshake, and they'll give you pictures, and, they'll be the nicest, nicest people in the world. And then once they get elected, then they turn into Darth Vader. So that's Clay County's biggest problems. I think those are problems that we need to tackle: violence and abuse, poor mental health. Racism is one of the big issues we're having, but it's saying that it's not a big problem in Clay County, which is actually, that's kind of nice. Right? I mean, that's nice to hear. Racism is okay now. I mean, it's there's no problem with racism in Clay County. So, congratulations to Clay County on that. The coal barons aren't that big a deal either. So they're not blaming the coal barons or the management or the owners of the coal mines. They're saying poverty. There's too much poverty, and there's police corruption. The education isn't any good. There's too much violence, and there's craziness. And so, change the culture, have better education, you would have better decisions, less craziness, less crazy behavior. You'll be able to, violence and abuse would go down. So really, better education would solve all of that. Even more wealth would probably solve a lot of this too. When you're poor, then you're going to get into fights, because what else can you do to feel human? When you're crazy, when you're poor, you go crazy, right? When you're poor, I guess maybe you don't see that education is actually the root of the problem, because you said poverty was the problem. Or maybe these are a bunch of middle class voters that said, nah, all these dang poor people, man, all over the place. Nah, my education was good, but these poor people. So anyways, I thought that was a pretty informative poll. So, Masters for Lieutenant Governor of Kentucky. I got a new blog out. You can Facebook me, jonathan.masters.50, twitter.com, Johnny Masters, and Blogspot, and YouTube, The Freedom School. So, the lieutenant governor is a sinecure. It's a sinecure spot, and it's a sinecure. It's worthless. It's like the jailers, right? You're a jailer, and you have no. I'm sitting in meetings. I have influence, and so I can help the governor do his job. But I'm just kind of like his wingman. I'm feeling actually the way I want to post a video on Facebook, just saying the way I'm feeling is sort of like on Old School. You had Will Ferrell, who was saying right after he got married, was like, I'm starting to feel a little freaked out right now, and so that's I basically am going to be married to for 4 months until the end of till the primary campaign to Jeff Young, and I believe in Jeff Young, and I almost feel like if I wasn't part of the campaign as a citizen, I would have been angry, ranting about how everybody should vote for the guy anyways. So he's already a slam dunk candidate. He's already a good-ass man. He's radical, gentle, appealable, charming, and speaks about, issues that need to be talked about. And he's respectable. He's very credentialed. He's got an MIT, education, and he's an engineer, and he's, MIT education, engineer, and he was a state worker for the environment. I don't know if it was the EPA, but it was something like the EPA. So he's working for the environment, for the government. And then when Jack Conway said he was going to sue the EPA, Jack Conway's taking the political wins, and he's saying, oh, Republicans are here, so he's just going to go full-on Republican. He wanted to just have no primary. The AFL-CIO wanted no primary, so that way Jack Conway could just be a Republican for 5 months and be able to just, sweep on into office, right? He's the presumptive nominee. He's got all this money. He got endorsements. He's got a year head start. He's probably got like 5 years head start, right? He's probably been doing this for like 5 years. He's the one to beat right now. Even the Republicans are afraid. That's why they're going to get their, crap together, because they have to. They have to get along, and they have to be able to do these debates and talk to each other. It might get nastier towards the last month, but before then, it doesn't. I don't attack. I wish we didn't have attack politics. Mitch McConnell shows that it's effective, and that's all he's ever based his entire career on. He's the Mubarak of Kentucky. He is, he's a tyrant. He's been the senator for 30 years, and now he's the richest one, and no suspicion of wrongdoing. Hey, Mitch, how'd you get so rich? You only get like, 100-something thousand to be senator. Well, I invested my 100,000 very wisely. Okay, well, that's good for you. Do you have any cocaine for sale? Mitch. Okay, anyways. So, I was going to talk about the Kentucky Fried Pensions, but actually I didn't get a chance to read them over. So, I'm going to try to actually go left to right here. And then I'm just going to talk about the lieutenant governor being in a sinecure position. It's a worthless spot, and it's not that bad. It's not. I mean, you could do something with it. You could try to change it, I'm going to try to become a young Dem. I'm going to try to become a member of it. I probably should try to become a member of a lot of things. I'm feeling a little parched right now. Maybe I should just cut off right now. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. Sorry about that. I got this flu I've been trying to get rid of, man. And I just want to knock it out. I just want to, sleep it off and drink as much liquid and just not die of the flu. Too many Kentuckians have died of the flu. We're one of the sickest states out here. That's why you had, like 500 million people sign up for Obamacare. We love Obamacare. Kentuckians love Obamacare. If you are against universal health care, you don't get Kentucky. You don't get Kentucky. That's what he said. Jack Conway said to Rand Paul. You don't get Kentucky. You don't get him. And he also said something about at the fancy farm. And then you'll find out that I am one tough son of a bitch. So anyways, that's I'm supposed to cuss less, and that's okay. I could cuss, not at all. It's more effective when you cuss, right? It's just an enhancer. It's a word enhancer. I could go to the store and I could get into, some sort of argument with some, I don't know, homeless guy about money. No, I don't want to give you any money. I'm sorry. And when I tell you the story, I'd rather be like, hey, I went to the fucking store, and this fucking homeless guy kept on badgering me, and it made me pissed off, and I'm yelling at him. Now I feel bad because I'm yelling at a homeless guy. I'm like, what the fuck, It's easier. You get my point. You understand it. I get the intensity of the moment there. But if I told the story, I could say it without any of the cuss words. Unfortunately, those are my 7 favorite words. George Carlin, 7 words you're not allowed to use in the English language. I love freedom of speech. I'm a huge advocate of freedom of speech. Fuck, cunt, piss, shit, motherfucker, cocksucker, tits. Those are the 7 words you cannot say on TV. But the internet so far, I think, is free, and it's been free for the whole time we've had the internet, and we should keep, internet neutrality. Very good stuff. It can be freer. It should be totally free. All right, of course it should be. It's a Gutenberg printing press revolution. Totally free, but there are some restrictions, right? You can't threaten people. You can't, say you're going to do people harm. That is dangerous, and you can't judge whether people intend to do something that they say or not. So, sometimes people get frustrated. It's like, ooh, I could just slap you right now, and it's like, well, that's scary. Don't hit me. But it could just been a rhetorical thing, like, oh, I'm not going to hit you, but ooh, you just frustrate me so much. So, coming back with some Gatewood. I'm going to read some Gatewood when I come back.